the dark, kindle the spark in me. Hey everybody, I know it's been a while, but welcome back to a new episode. Consider it maybe a new season of our series Flicker. We're taking a look at Jesus' teachings in what we call the Sermon on the Mount. And if you're someone who's been following along in the Bible, we're just at the beginning of Matthew chapter 6. And I want to share with you one of my favorite recent inventions. Let me tell you about the box. Okay, it's just a cardboard box. In fact, it was an empty cardboard box that we happen to have laying around in the church office here. And we instituted the box for part of our Sunday worship when we resumed worshiping in person here in one of the congregations that I serve. The box is not very complicated to operate. There's no moving parts to it. There's just, empty space and rectangles and this empty place here. The point of the box is that when people these days want to bring offerings to worship, which they do, they can simply take their offering and very subtly just sort of slide that right in there. Nobody has to pass any offering plates. Once upon a time, we used these big shiny bad boys, and as lovely and decorative as they are, there's a couple of downsides to the big shiny heavy metal brass offering plate. One, in this day and age of pandemic awareness and contagion preventing, of course, we've been trying to prevent any possible way for people to be spreading germs to one another. So instead of having here, I'm going to hand this money, who knows where that has been, and put it in this plate, now hand it to you for you to put on your hands on top of it. We're just avoiding that. And so as people come in to worship these days, they're just very subtly dropping their offerings right in the box, and that's it. No working parts, no noise, no sound. That's it, just simply dropping things in the box. Now, like I say, we did this at first simply as a way of trying to avoid any possible place for people to be spreading contagion or germs or whatever, as we try to have an abundance of caution in this era of the coronavirus. But the more and more I think about it, the more I kind of think Jesus has been pointing us in the direction of the box for a very long time. We just got things fancier by making these fancy metal plates. See, Jesus says early on in chapter 6 of Matthew, he's giving directions for how we live out our faith, how we practice our piety day by day. And he says, when you're giving alms, in other words, giving money to charity, to folks who would have need for it, when you're giving, don't announce yourself in the streets. Don't get out a trumpet and start blaring a horn so that everybody will notice. He goes, that's what hypocrites do. What hypocrites are after, especially the respectable religious sort of hypocrites, they're interested just in getting other people's attention. So their giving isn't really, I want to help you so you can eat, but I want to use you as a prop so others can see me doing a good, respectable, religious thing. And Jesus says, instead, give in secret. Give in such a way that your left hand doesn't know what your right hand is doing. In other words, I kind of imagine a box, subtly. So I can be walking in and just very subtly sliding that offering right in the box. Now, of course, there's a difference. When Jesus talks about giving alms, these are words not for church offerings, really, not directly at least. It's the way you would help somebody who was in need. The assumption in Jesus' mind, and of course in all of the Hebrew scriptures and all of the Old Testament, is that we have a calling to take care of others who are in need among us, and that we are called to use some of our resources. If you've got resources, to help your neighbor who is hungry, whether they're homeless, whether they're hungry, whether they don't know where their next meal is coming from, whether you know them or not, and without question about, are you worthy, have you earned it, do you deserve it, but because everybody gets to eat in the kingdom of God. So Jesus is talking about when there's somebody who is in need, and they're asking for your help. You can be a jerk about it and draw as much attention to yourself and try and get the front page photograph of, look what a good saintly person I am, how I'm helping this poor slob out. That makes them into your prop. Or you can offer the other person dignity and treat them like someone made in the image of God and offer help for them without calling attention to it. I don't need to make a big deal about it, but I kind of think starting with a box like this is maybe a way of getting my head and my heart in the right space. That if my understanding of giving, whether it's to God or to other people, is about how do I get attention for myself, I've just given away who this is really about. I've made this about me, about my ego, about whether I'm impressing somebody else or whether I live in this illusion that, I'm impressing God by it. Not important. Jesus says, when you're doing things secretly, God sees, God knows, God appreciates that generosity. Like the Proverbs and the Psalms both say, when you are kind and care for someone who is poor, you are honoring God. And when you are unjust or uncharitable towards somebody else, you are insulting your maker and theirs. Jesus is tapped into that. Understandable. Jesus gets it. The way we treat other people, God is already aware. God knows. God sees. And yeah, we're made to take care of each other, but we don't need to be getting headlines about it. The real question, I guess, is am I doing what I do out of love for the neighbor, in which case I don't need to get headlines. They don't need to know my name. I don't need to get a photo op out of it. I don't need to get people to pay attention or fawn over what I've done. It's simply, how can I take care of my neighbor? Or am I doing this about myself? So the box might be one of those features that even when coronavirus is done, we may decide this is the way to go for a long time, just as a reminder that when we give, whether it's directly to God and here at the church, and a bunch of our money goes to help other people around the world anyway, or helping somebody at the street corner, or giving money to the local food pantry or homeless ministry, or giving my time to help house somebody who's homeless, when I do that, God knows. I don't have to worry about getting points. There are no points to be worried about. God knows. In the meantime, how can I make this not about me, but simply about loving my neighbor? And when I don't have to worry about getting points anymore, all of a sudden I'm free. Free to give when nobody's watching. Free to be generous and gracious, to do things that sometimes people talk about as random acts of kindness, but are really part of a conspiracy, a planned, intentional conspiracy of grace. Yeah, that's what I want to be a part of. So whether you get a box or you just find other secret ways to be generous, be a part of it. Be a part of the conspiracy of generosity. See you next time here on Flickr. Bye.